Brethren lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the Arsenal Total Access Show. We're going to be discussing the latest around Arsenal. Lots of stories for us to dive into, including Mikel Arteta's press conference, which will actually be coming your way very, very soon. We're going to be diving into some of the quotes we're speaking about before the Sporting CP game, but also the Kroenke's committing their again reaffirming their commitment to Arsenal, confirming that there are big plans for this Arsenal Football Club. We're going to be discussing that, getting your reactions live as well. We'll be diving into Kroenke could be staying. Mikel Arteta is undecided according to the latest stories we are receiving. Kroenke, Mikel Arteta is undecided whether whether he wants to let go of Kroenke or actually to sell him. We are going to be talking about Florian Balogun. We'll be talking about Albert Sambi-Lokonga and Nuno Tavares as the players that will be leaving in the summer. And of course, Edu confirms that right now Arsenal have already started laying groundwork to get deals done in the summer. Hit that button for me, subscribe to the podcast as well. I have a whole lineup of content just for us to react to and get your reactions and thoughts as well. The Arsenal Total Access Show, right from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the like button, and make sure you join the family and get involved in the comment box below as well. So I want to ask you a question that is quite very, very simple. We've talked about Stan Kroenke before, and earlier on I did a video about Stan Kroenke and how he's actually recommitting again, confirming that he's committed to Arsenal Football Club. So I want to ask you a question here. Is Stan Kroenke the right guy to take Arsenal in front? Is Stan Kroenke the right owner with what he's done in the last 3 years, what he has done for Arsenal in the last 3-4 years? Is he the right owner? Would you consider him as the right owner to take Arsenal? Do you compare him to the likes of Sheikh Mansour? Do you think he can go to that extent, investing in Arsenal to the extent of Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester City, Real Madrid, FC Barcelona? Because for us to go to those levels, we've got to spend just like those clubs. So let me know in the comment box below. You can also let me know where you're watching from. How is your evening going? Are you still stuck in traffic? Are you back home? Are you at work? There's some people who actually work in the evening. So if you're still at work, let me know. If you're still trying to hustle your way to get home, let me know as well, right? This is your daily Total Access Show, right from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. as well, right? So let's dive into it. Let's start off with Edu. Now, yesterday, we talked about Edu a little bit and what he has done for this Arsenal side and everything. But the very, very key important thing here in what was asked, it was asked about the Arsenal plans for this summer, right? It was asked whether we're going to be talking about big names. We're going to be signing big names. Are we going to do some big deals that we couldn't do, courtesy of not having the UEFA Champions League? Now that Arsenal are back in UEFA Champions League, now that we are back at the top level, are we going to be doing the big deals? And this is what he actually said. And I want to say this. I think this could be even a bigger summer than the one we saw in this last summer or last year. The summer of 2023 could be a bigger one than the summer of 2022. I look back at the summer of 22 and I look at what we did, which was actually purely remarkable as a club. We brought in very, very good players and players that have actually improved and changed this Arsenal side. Zinchenko, wonderful footballer, experienced footballer, is a winner with Manchester City, and a captain with Ukraine. The experience, the pedigree that he brings to this Arsenal side is unprecedented. Gabriel Jesus as well, his contribution to the team is purely unprecedented. And you think about the quality that he has added to that front three, even when he's away, I think the standards have already been raised. So those two players, everyone has gone, Arsenal signing those were remarkable statement signings. Now, I believe this summer with UEFA Champions League football, because remember, in the past, Arsenal have had to go into transfer summers with the mentality of, we don't have UEFA Champions League football, we have Europa League football, so you either sign for us or you don't sign for us. I think right now we're going to have so many players trying to sign for Arsenal. We're gonna have so many players who want to play for the club, and it's going to be much easier to attract bigger names. So Ed was asked whether Arsenal have any big plans for the summer, and he said right now everyone is doing something. Clubs are doing stuff, and we are also laying groundwork. He was asked about Declan Rice and whether that's a deal Arsenal are looking at, and he said we have already started laying the groundwork on some of those deals, and probably when things are right, we will actually let you know. So listen, that is where I wanted us to start, right? That's where I wanted us to start. I think this season is going to be a much bigger challenge. Next season and even the summer, it's going to be a much bigger challenge for Eddie. It's going to be a much bigger challenge for Mikel Arteta compared to what we are used to, compared to what Arsenal have been doing over the years. That kind of business. You sign a Martin Odegaard for 30 million. You sign a Ben White for 50 million. You sign an Aaron Ramsdale for 30 million. That is easy business to do. Anyone can actually do that. I think any club can go. We've signed Ben White for 50 million. Any club can go. We've signed Martin Odegaard for 30 million. The reason is then there is not so much competition on these players. Odegaard, I think Arsenal were interested in him, and I think AC Milan. He eventually chose to go to Arsenal. Ben White, it was only Arsenal. Yeah, Chelsea were rumored, but according to Fabrizio Romano, Chelsea were never serious, and they were never in contention to sign Benjamin White, right? So in this summer, it's going to be about big names. It's going to be about players that everyone wants, right? We have seen it in January. We tried to sign Moises Caicedo. Chelsea wanted him as well, and Brighton didn't want to sell. Those were three difficult situations that Arsenal had to overcome to sign Moises Caicedo. How do you convince a player to let go of one of the most important players? That's what we're going to have to do. That's where the business is actually going to be taking us, right? And after that, after looking at all that stuff, how do you convince a team to let go of their most important player? Then you've got to ask your question, how do I beat off the competition that is actually on this player? For example, we tried to sign Olorin Tchouameni. Tchouameni was eyed by Liverpool. Tchouameni was eyed by Manchester United. And Tchouameni was eyed by Real Madrid. Eventually, Real Madrid stood out as the bigger club, and they eventually signed him. Actually, according to what the rumors actually are saying, Olorin Tchouameni was requested, personal request from Kylian Mbappe to sign for Paris Saint-Germain, but eventually Real Madrid won the battle. So how do you win such battles? Okay, yes, we want big deals, and big deals are going to be on the table because that is the level where we are at, right? I don't want to see Arsenal trying to sign Brian Bremo. I don't want to see Arsenal trying to sign Wilfried Zaha. We are above that level. The level at which we are is if everyone wants Jude Bellingham, that is where Arsenal should be standing. If everyone wants Declan Rice, that is where Arsenal should be standing. If everyone wants Moussa Diaby, that is where Arsenal should be standing. So Edu has a big job to do, in my opinion, and it is quite very, very smart what he's done here. He said every summer and every transfer window, I try to make it as comfortable as I can. And what it means there is that he tries to do the deal before, he tries to get the deal done before this summer. We talked to the agent of Gabriel Jesus before the summer came. And of course, he tells you that Chelsea tried to sign Gabriel Jesus after Arsenal had an agreement with us and an agreement with Manchester City. But then he says we had already decided where the player was going to go. Okay, so it's the same thing Ed is doing with Declan Rice. He's trying to talk to the representatives of the player. He's trying to talk to the players, involving Mikel Arteta in the talks, trying to make sure that whatever happens, we get our man. Look, it's a brilliant move. Very, 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 very brilliant move. But how many big signings do I think Arsenal should go for in the summer? 3, right? I think we should go for 3 big signings. And all the outlets are actually quoting Arsenal will have a big summer. Arsenal will add Champions League level players in the summer. I think 3 would be a very, very good number. You add the Declan Rice, who I think highly will sign for Arsenal. I don't know whether there's going to be more competition on this deal, but as far as I'm concerned, Chelsea, Liverpool, That is beatable competition. Liverpool could make it, at the end of the season. We might see a Liverpool out of the UEFA Champions League. If they're out of the UEFA Champions League, we take Declan Rice. It's a no-brainer. If Chelsea don't make it to the UCL, I don't think they will, unless they perform huge miracles. Unless they go with they perform very, very big miracles. But if they don't perform big miracles, I do not see them make the UEFA Champions League. So it remains between Arsenal and West Ham for Declan Rice. If West Ham go, we want to keep him and let him go on a free, which will be very, very stupid. Then Arsenal will have no other option. But if they dare get relegated, and I'm not saying I want West Ham to get relegated. Of course, I don't care if they get relegated. I really, really don't care. But there's some players, there's some teams that I always want to see in the Premier League: West Ham, Newcastle, Crystal Palace. You know those teams, right? You know those teams that we always want to see in the UEFA Champions League, don't you? You always know those teams that whenever they are there in the Premier League, not UEFA Champions League, but in the Premier League, the Premier League already feels like a Premier League. Okay, so Edu is working on Declan Rice. That is already confirmed. Deals are happening underground. We're doing our underground work. We are trying to feed in all the information we can to the player, and we're trying to get all the responses that we can as well from. We're also trying to get all the responses that we can from the camp of Declan Rice. If that is going to happen, I reckon it's one of those deals that could happen earlier in the summer, right? It's one of those deals that I look at them and I'm like, this one could happen in June, by the end of June, or maybe early July. I don't see it as a deal that will drag on like the Yuri Tillemans deal or the Martin Odegaard deal. I don't see it in that way. I think it's a deal that West Ham will want to do as quickly as possible. Give us our money, take your player, we look for a replacement, and then life moves on. Okay, but the strategy is very, very good. Make Edu trying to sign players earlier on, trying to lay groundwork before the summer happens, because it says clubs are doing stuff. Look, that is top mentality. That is really, really top mentality. This is an Arsenal side that cares. Okay, there is something that is bugging my computer, but I can't really find it. I hope it's not actually very disturbing you. I hope it's not actually disturbing really, because it is. It's kind of some kind of noise. I don't know where it's coming from, right? So that is it, guys. That is it from Edu. He's working on big deals, and we should be expecting something by the summer. By the time the summer happens, we should be expecting some kind of breakthrough, right? Now that story also comes at the time when Stan Kroenke has reaffirmed his commitment to the Arsenal team, and he said, we want to tell the Arsenal fraternity, we want to tell the Arsenal fan base again that we are here as custodians of this football club. We are not going anywhere, and we would like to tell you that we are going to be trying to win titles with this football club. Now, listen, this also comes in at a time when Josh Kroenke and Stan Kroenke have joined or have now become co-chairmen at Arsenal. Josh Kroenke has gone up the level to become chairman at Arsenal. Of course, Josh Kroenke is the day-to-day runner of the club. He's the big guy at Arsenal, right? Although Stan Kroenke is the owner of the money, but Arsenal is just a small part of KSE. You know that, right? Kroenke Sports and Enterprises is the much bigger picture. It's the bigger picture, right? So Josh Kroenke, the head of Arsenal, is now going to be chairman of Arsenal. Stan Kroenke will also be chairman of Arsenal. That means we'll have two chairmen. And like I said in the earlier video today, in my opinion, this is something very, very good. This is something very good for Arsenal. One, we have our own chairman as a club. I think most of the clubs under KSE do have their own chairman. It's not Stan Kroenke, right? What this does, it means that there is someone who understands the day-to-day running of the club at the top. For me, Stan Kroenke doesn't really have that time to deal with Arsenal, understand Arsenal problems, and and whatever the problems are. I don't think he's got that time, right? So adding Josh Kroenke up there means if Edu wants to sign a player and he talks to Josh Kroenke and it tells him, this is the player we want, Josh Kroenke will understand. And I think Josh Kroenke understands football more than Stan Kroenke, because you look at all these other, clubs and their chairman and the people running them, they're footballing people. There's a reason as to why clubs go with footballing people. There's a reason that's why clubs go, we want someone who's played football. We want someone who understands this club to come in and, lead. So Josh Kroenke is going to be, a chairman for Arsenal. I hope that actually gives us very, very good results. I hope really it does. Because in the past 3 years, him driving the Arsenal ship, him being at the hierarchy of this Arsenal ship, it's been doing very well. Ever since we structured and restructured management, and we restructured the way the club is run. We are now one of the well-run clubs in Europe. We're one of the clubs that are actually doing very well in terms of management. It's much, much better. But what has actually caught my eye this evening, actually it was in the afternoon, is that Kroenke is willing to go all the way to invest in Arsenal. He's willing to go all the way to see Arsenal back at the levels. That is what he said. I'm not trying to say that I'm hypothetically trying to believe in him. I'm trying to say that he has said, as quoted by the Arsenal website, that they are committed as long-term custodians of this football club. They will see Arsenal get back to the levels that they deserve, and they will see Arsenal win again. Do I believe them? I want to see the progress first. Okay, I think the manager is there. I think the sporting director is different. I think the structure of football and the hierarchy of the football club and management is also different. So that is very visible. They've done it, right? In terms of injecting some money in the club, I think they've done it as well. They've spent over 800 million in the last 5 years on this Arsenal project. Okay, so I think they've gone and they've understood that if we want to get out, if we want to get the maximum out of Arsenal Football Club, we've got to invest money. We've got to go, buy players, make Arsenal great again, take Arsenal back to the UEFA Champions League. Because without Arsenal in the UEFA Champions League, they miss out on Champions League revenue. They miss out on so many brand deals, and they miss out on a lot of money that brands would actually come to give us if we were associated with the UEFA Champions League. Okay, so this again, that confirms the big story that we're talking about, that the Kroenkes could be willing to pump money in Arsenal as we get back to the UEFA Champions League, get back to those standards. And I think since 2018, when they took over 100% of the club, we have not seen a big club. We've not seen Arsenal as a big club. It hasn't been a big club. It's been that kind of mediocre, club trying to buy the likes of, Socrates Papastathopoulos, buying David Luiz, buying players that do not actually match the standards. Okay, and there was no clear plan in how the club buys, how the club sells, and how the club is run. But right now, although we're not signing the likes of Rafael Leao yet, we're not signing the likes of Donnarumma yet, but you can see there is a very, very clear plan. Okay, the plan is there, and the plan for me that I've looked at this Arsenal side is simple. Let's go target young players, build a team that can go 5 years at the top level, that can do 6 years at the top level. Now, whether they will not sell those players in the future, that remains to be seen. Whether they are willing to go, okay, because there will be clubs that come knocking on the door, asking for the hands of these players. Madrid could come back for Odegaard one day, maybe offering 120 million. Will they stand their ground and go, we are making enough revenue, Arsenal is a self-sustaining business, right? We are not selling one of our best players. And if they sell one of their best players, if we sell maybe Odegaard, if the Kroenkes go, okay, sell Odegaard and sell Martinelli, will they give us the money to replace them adequately? Because 3 years or 4 years from now, it won't be about developing talent. It will be about buying top talent. Okay, look at Manchester City. City no longer develop talent. It's far away from that. What now? City go for the finished article. Jack Grealish, 100 million. Manuel Akanji, 25 million. Whoever comes in, Erling Haaland, I think around 70 million. Okay, so are they willing to go to those extents of saying we now understand that we are a big club? We are no longer in the process. We are at the epitome of the process. Okay, we want to stay up there. We want to be we want to stay as a big club. Will they go to that extent of spending hundreds and hundreds of millions on finished article players? For me, if they do that, then there is no problem. Absolutely, there will not be any problems. But I want your thoughts on the Kroenkes, and I want your thoughts on whether you feel the Kroenkes will be backing us, because that is something that many Arsenal fans have always wanted, and many of you always told, because the problem with the Kroenkes is that they don't invest enough money in Arsenal Football Club. Well, here we are. They're now trying to do that. Simon says, good morning, Garners. Good morning, Simon. And he says, good morning, good evening, everyone. Actually, not good morning, but good evening. Someone says, hey, Cossy, thanks for the show. I'm watching you from UG. Tony says, Tierney should not go to Newcastle because next season we have so many competitions to play, whereby we need rotation. Tony says, but Mr. Cossy, today the voice of your studio has changed. Has it changed? I'm not really sure why. Is it low? Is it high? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure why it has changed. I'll check on that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to see I want to get some of your reactions, right? Adam says, I'm very grateful to be on this live chat. I really love you so much, Cossy. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see. Israel says, good evening, Cossy. Good evening, Israel. The Councillor UG says, I'm Kamara. I'm watching from Doha. Adam says, Rice will be a very good addition to our side, especially squad depth-wise. Okay. Webster says, hi, Cossy. Abu says, hi, Cossy. Watching live from Uganda. Okay. And then Adam says, but Cossy, do you think when will we be favorites for the Premier League? At the moment of time, would you think we are not good enough to go to win it? I think I understand your question, really. I think I really do. I don't think we are favorites right now, but after April, I think Arsenal will be favorites for the Premier League title after April. That's what I would say. The customer says, Cossy, I think Stan Kroenke can back up Mikel Arteta to get 4 players, like 2 midfielders, 1 right winger who can compete with Saka, and that's the 1 center forward. Right, keep those comments coming in. Keep those comments coming in. We'll be diving into much of those reactions later on as well. Now, as we prepare for Sporting CP tomorrow. As we prepare for Sporting CP tomorrow, Mikel Arteta has been speaking to the press about a couple of issues, and we're going to be diving into his press conference right about now. Okay. Right. So here we go. First and foremost, it was asked on the atmosphere at the training ground. I said, first of all, the players get on really, really well, and they can see and they can sense that there's a good combination of desire to win and competition between the players, and they also know when to enjoy it. So that's why the atmosphere in the training ground is actually very, very good as always. So he says, Mikel, the atmosphere in the training ground is still very, very good, right? And he says players want to win and players want to compete at the top level. On how good it is to have Gabriel Jesus back, Mikel says it is great to see him back. You can feel the happiness of everybody around him, supporters, players, staff. We missed him, and now we are glad he is actually back. On ensuring his comeback, is done right. Mikel says we have to manage his minutes and we have to manage his involvement in the squad as well. But Gabi is feeling good every day that he's training. He says that his senses are getting better and better and better. That's really, really positive for us. Right? I mean, Gabriel Jesus must be back, fully back by now. On whether we will be on whether there will be a squad rotation tomorrow in the game. It says we are looking to win. There was the same that was the same when we were in Lisbon, but we are gonna have to be better than we did in Lisbon to win this sporting game tomorrow. Okay, Mikel on the step up against Fulham. After the disappointment in Lisbon, they said it was a big difference. There was desire to win the ball back, the aggression that we showed, and how we defended in both boxes. That's something we are gonna have to show tomorrow against a top quality side. They punish you the moment you give them some space, and so tomorrow that cannot be the case. Okay. On whether the Europa League is a distraction from the domestic campaign, Mikel says no. We haven't had a big European nights for 3 years due to COVID, especially. Tomorrow is probably the first one we've had for a while, and hopefully we will build a really good atmosphere and enjoy it. Our supporters will be there against a really, really good side that is going to put a big challenge in front of us. All right. On Edin Kete's recovery, because says he's getting better. He's still in the he's still in the boat. So still a few weeks away. We need to be patient. It was a nasty injury, all right. And says it's a challenge that Eddie's got ahead of him, but thank God it could have been worse. So he's not in a very, very bad shape. That's interesting. On any other team concerns, it says there are no other team concerns. The team is actually very fine and everyone is okay. On whether he expects Benoit to be selected for England duty, it says he's available for sure. Is available for us for sure. He will be available for the England squad. As far as I'm concerned, he's been really, really in good form. He's been available for every single match and is performing very, very well for us at Arsenal at the moment. On Emil Smith-Rowe's return to the squad, Mikel says that he knows how much we love him and how much we missed him and how much we need his qualities. Now he needs to prove that. He needs to prove how much he wants to win and how much he's going to contribute to this team to be better and better, to make us better, to make us win. He's going to have to show that to get on the team. On whether he will be reintroduced gradually, Mikel says we have to manage his load, but for sure he is in a position where we can use him in the team at any moment. That's about how he's coping with the game in general, and whether he can and whether to take him off or use for the few last minutes of the game. And whether Erling Haaland's achievements have surprised him, Mikel says no. When you look at what he's done in the past and surrounded by the manager and the team and the individuals City have, he's only got better. He's only gonna get better. It's incredible what he did. Haaland scored 5 goals. In the Champions League. That was crazy. On whether City's recent form is a concern, it says we cannot control that. We know the standards they have set in this league for the last 4 or 5 years, and we have to meet them if we want to actually beat them. On his sporting idols, we can say someone that I've admired for a long time, a very, very long time, is Rafael Nadal, because of his mentality and what he has done and what he's done. And the way he's actually done it, and how many times he's actually bounced back. So he will be top of the list for sure in terms of his ideas. So that's Mikel Arteta and some of the few quotes that he was that we managed to get on the Arsenal website as we head into that game against Sporting Lisbon on Thursday. All right. So this is the Arsenal Dr. Access Show, guys. It comes your way every single day, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Now I have to upload the predicted lineup later on. I'm gonna have to cut the show short, but I'll speak to you right in that video.